I will be talking you through the loading process with tips and tricks along the way. Here we go. So we're putting couches up into the peak. That's the space above the cab. We use the space to get rid of awkward items, fragile, high value things, because it is the safest spot in the truck and it gets them out of the way in a nice, safe area. Now we're going to be going with cubes, boxes. These are ones that have that are 4 5s, dish packs, 3 1s, and sometimes wardrobes. They have the same footprint, so it's easy for the loader to stack them fast, efficient, safe. We also try to make straight lines, straight tops, straight edges, straight tiers. It just makes the next tier that much easier if you have a straight wall to work against. Um, Filling every gap, you see how we put flats against the wall in between the boxes. That keeps them safe and out of the way also. Now up above, we're putting what we call chowder. That's going to be on the top level of each tier. These are dining room chairs that are all wrapped up, and then we have some luggage, um, lighter, lighter small objects. That's chowder. Anything light and small, and sometimes fragile. So we're just going to tuck that little chest against I think it's a tabletop, and that'll keep it there. If you want, you can add a strap or a bungee if it's really heavy or if it's fragile, just to be sure. But the crew unloading it should be able to handle things like that without having it strapped down. Now again, we're going mostly cubes, making a nice flat wall, getting the top. We're going to try to flatten out the top probably. Yep. And high and tight, same concept applies here. If it shakes, it breaks. Similar to how we pack our boxes, getting all the bumpers in there so that there's no movement, no possible movement. And sometimes if you have doubts about what you just loaded, you might want to change it up. That's perfectly fine. And if you have a gut feeling, you should probably go with it and make it safe before it's stuck in the middle where you can't really get back to it. So now we're stacking a 2-piece armoire, so it has the exact same footprint. So if it's a 2-piecer, you always are going to want to stack it right on top of itself in the truck. We did flip the feet upside down, so the bottom has an exposed drawer. So the bottom of drawers are usually pretty weak and pretty much just cardboard. So we put that dish pack folded up there, and that protects that. We have plenty of blue pads, so use them generously. It's easier to throw a pad on something than trying to fix a scratch, a gouge, or something that's broken. So might as well throw them in the load. It's also a good idea to use that step stool whenever you can. That gets you up to eye level with where you're loading, especially when you're putting chowder up there, so that you're not forcing it on your tippy toes or getting yourself in a strained position to try to get things really high and tight. All right, here we got another set of nightstands, I believe, and they're this exact same footprint. So putting them on top of each other is just common sense. It fills edge to edge, wall to wall. We like things to be nice and snug, but we don't want to be crushing boxes or forcing them in spaces that are just too small for them. So a little pressure is okay. Boxes do have some flex, but if it doesn't fit, then it doesn't fit. Try to find a better spot for it. Fill in all those little gaps with shelves and glass and whatever else. Making another nice flat tier so you can stack up some chowder way up top. Sometimes you will need two people. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you're loading, so that they can kind of see what you're doing from a different angle and help you get a piece into where it needs to go. It's just safer that way. Also, you'll notice that the crew tries to set items on the side of the truck that aren't being loaded yet. That keeps the center pathway open and clear to carry bigger items through and in. And if he sees anything he needs on the side, he can easily grab it. Now it's important not to bury a bin of pads or bury the step stool, because then it's just a hassle. You have to move things twice, and customers will make us move things twice already, so let's not do it to each other. Now here we got a table base we just put up there. That's good to get up high, out of the way. We're probably not going to stack anything on top of it, or if it is, it's going to be very light. Those legs are usually fragile, so let's treat them with care. Nice wall to wall. It's all filled up. Get rid of some awkward items, big boxes on top of that bin. And you'll notice it seems to be important to always fix your hat. You never know when a big gust of wind is going to come around and blow your hat off, or if rain might come down and come in your eyes. So make sure your hat is fixed, as you can see the loader is doing consistently. So that's a tabletop with the finished top towards the wall. So we threw some cardboard back there that gives it a buffer against the E-track on the wall. Sometimes that will rub and leave marks on the top. So extra cardboard, extra pads. You can never use too many. Didn't fit the first way. Let's try this way. It looks like it's going to snug right up and in there. So that's a weight bench up there. It's a very awkward item. It doesn't usually make good base because of how skinny it is and how holy it is. So getting rid of that up there. Sometimes I'll put those in the peak even. Yep, asking for help. 2-man in that up there. It's not a very heavy piece, but it is kind of fragile, so getting the legs poking straight up gets it kind of out of the way, and then it's good to go. Safe. So those plastic casters you see there, I've had many of them break. They're very fragile. They don't support a lot of weight, so the slightest movement on those, a little too much weight, will just crack those in half. So having them upside down like that is usually the best practice, or sideways with those towards the wall, something like that. Is not a bad idea. They're similar to the casters that are on office chairs you'll commonly see. So same thing. you just got to treat them like they're glass almost, and be very gentle with them, and maybe throw an extra pad around them or something. So I'm just trying to level out that wall by putting that ladder there. It brings the chests up to the level of that desk. So now we have a nice flat wall to work with and build up. And then the next tier after this will just be that much easier without having to deal with multiple levels and layers trying to fill in behind them. So here got a little snug there, but that's probably the tightest it should be, is what just went in there. So this is a Christmas tree box. I rotated it because there's a slight angle to the box, and the angle would have made things tip towards me instead of towards the load. So if the box or if the piece has some kind of an angle to it, I prefer to put the angle towards the load, so whatever I put on top of that is going to be tipping towards the load, make it safer for me and anyone that's picking. You're not going to have things trying to fall on you. So here we have a headboard on the wall. I set up a strap there before I put this in place so that it would be easier to just pull the strap around all the pieces that we're putting in there. I also put cardboard on the ground protecting the edge of that leg because, as you can see, it's exposed, and we want to protect that. It would have been nice to throw another pad or cardboard around the top edge of that leg too, just to prevent anything from the leg bouncing around and getting chipped or nicked on that left side there. All right, and that's it.